when you go in, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. And they got to have fire, like fire. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I have a great, refreshed week away, and I have some fuel and some fire to come in with some great content today. If you're a new listener, welcome to the podcast. Always great to have new people. If you've been around, welcome back. This one is phenomenal. This one's my story of sports residency, why I went to the Ohio State University for my sports residency, and just critical things for you to consider if sports residency is right for you. How do you choose a program? Uh, you know, which one is best for you? And I wanted to share kind of my story to help you make a better decision for yourself. And you're going to find people who have their reasons for doing it or not. And, which one is the best for you? It's the one that resonates with your story and what you want. And that's going to be a little different for everyone. So, I'll give you a little background on, why I chose the Ohio State University. Just a little background story. When, at the time when I applied to residencies, there was only 5 in the country. And I think that was USC, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, the Ohio State University, and I think Delaware. I think those were the only 5 sports residencies at the time. This is 2007, applying for 2008. And every single program was only taking one person. So there was only 5 spots in the country available for, I don't know how many new graduates that might come out every single year, but so there's 5 spots. And I remember thinking like this is gonna be impossible for me to get into, and I was trying to make myself competitive for the application process, and the applications were due I think right after CSM, so it was February of 2008 when I was trying to finalize everything. And I remember thinking, how do I know which one's going to be best? And now looking back, I have so much more reflection on that and what I've done differently. And so I wanted to share that. Ultimately, it helps you figure out what is the best place or not the best place for you. And this is a very personal decision. I'm just going to share my story and why I chose them. But ultimately, this is my story. If you can take bits and pieces and help make a better decision for yourself, that's the ultimate goal. So I was applying. I knew I wanted on the field coverage. That to me, I'm a single credentialed PT, so I don't have an athletic training background. My beautiful wife is a dual credentialed physical therapist and athletic trainer, and she took an athletic training route, and I always wanted a piece of that, the on-field coverage. I wanted to be able to help people. In reality, now looking back, I understand it better that I just wanted to help people through all phases of life. And I know that in a sports setting, we call it an acute injury. In a community setting where we're treating people of our community and they're weekend warriors, we call it just like, they got an ache and pain over a weekend. It's an acute injury, but it's not a sport injury. A lot of times it's not considered, and I think it is. It's just learning how to treat it the same as you would with a high school student or a pro athlete. It's all the same. It's just understanding a phase of healing and where they are. So what I wanted to do was get the on-field advantage or the on-field coverage. And for me, that was probably the top of my list. Some of you might think that you want a sports residency because you want to treat in the clinic the best rehab progressions, the best ACL progressions, the best return to sport. That's the rehab side. So that's from injury to recovery. I wanted from acute injury into rehab. I wanted like day 1, minute 1, acute swelling, managing all the way through. By the time they hit a PT clinic or a physical therapist, I wanted to understand that process. I know I wanted to learn under several people. So different sports residencies have different programs where they set you up with a team of people, or you have your one main mentor or two main mentors, or maybe the residency's in a clinic. Do you want it affiliated with a hospital? So I know I wanted on the field coverage. I wanted sports rehab. I also wanted to understand strength and conditioning, so that way, if I got that person from minute one of injury to a rehab perspective, subacute, to getting him back to the field by week 6 or 4 or 2, whatever it was, I wanted to learn, how do I keep them out of that, or make them stronger and more resilient so that they have less risk of non-contact injuries. So that's acute injury slash preventative slash strength conditioning. I also wanted that. I also have a passion for teaching, and I love it. So I wanted a little teaching component as well. So when I looked at all the options, and I wanted those were, I don't know, I wouldn't say non-negotiables, but they were very important for me. So, and then I had to ask, and you have to ask yourself this too, why are you doing a residency? Like, I get a lot of new grads or people who've been out for a while, and they're like, I want to go back and do a residency. Why? And sometimes I get very superficial answers. Oh, because I want to grow. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I want mentorship. Well, can't you find a clinic with mentorship? Well, I want on the field coverage. Now we're talking. There are some things where you're going to be limited. If you can partner with a local athletic trainer or somebody who can help you and support you, then you can find that in your local area. And ultimately, you got to figure out, what is the goal that you want after the residency. What is the ultimate goal associated with what you're trying to do? And I think that's hard for people to articulate. Well, I think I want to work in a pro setting. Okay, you can also get that experience and get that achievement without the residency. Um, but the residency will set you up for success in that. Or I want a better career. Okay, so you want more opportunities. So is the network of people in that residency important to you? If it is, then that's a priority. So is it the network? Is it the opportunity that you're going to have afterwards? Is it just selfishly for personal growth, or that you want to be the best, the absolute best, and you don't really care about what happens afterwards? You just want to get all the knowledge. That's fine, but I think you have to answer that yourself, because that creates a better, easier list to choose from in terms of which residency is going to be the best for you. So those were, I shared my experiences. And so this is February of 2008 now. I've submitted all my applications to all 5. I remember this. They were all a little different, and this is before like any of the online platforms that tell you, where to put applications. I think you had to mail it. Yes, you had to mail it. And I remember thinking, I made copies of everything, and to mail this packet of information, it was like, I trust that this is going to go to the right place. And this is before all the platforms where you can upload. So I choose all 5, because at that point I was so young in my career. I'm a third year PT student. I wanna be successful. I was just hungry. And if you ask me my why, I wanted to work with pro athletes. I wanted to work in a professional setting, and I felt like this was the opportunity that was going to set me up for success. I didn't think about the network or anything else, like how they were going to get me there. I just knew that if I had the skills, then I'll do the rest. Just put me on the court. Just let me play. Just give me the skill set, and put me in coach. And that was important to me. So I applied. I thought all the programs were good. Some were more established. Some had just gotten credentialed, and some had just started, or had graduated like 2 or 3 residents before. So all of them were at different phases of maturity. And I remember fulfilling all those applications. I'm like, I have no idea which one is the absolute best for me until I meet some of these individuals. And this is before Zoom or FaceTime. So I think we were just calling and then meeting in person. So we really didn't do any like video conferencing or anything else. And so I remember it was perfect timing with CSM in February. So I went there and I wanted to go meet everyone. And I just want to go shake everyone's hands and just see them eye to eye. I'm my personality, I love to just watch people's reaction, and I like to watch people and just engage with them. That's just who I am. And so I wanted to meet everybody. And so over the phone and in person told me a lot about what opportunities I was going to have. And then also, was I going to enjoy that experience? So I met with everyone, and the one I resonated with the most was immediate. And if he's listening to this, John, you're the man, and I appreciate you. Both you and Matt really made an impact on me. And I was at CSM in the Grand or in Nashville, and we had met up afterwards at the Grand Ole Opry. But I remember at CSM, I shook their hands, and it was Matt and John DeWitt and Matt Briggs, and these two pioneers had just started the program a few years earlier. There was another gentleman by Chris McKenzie, and here we are. I'm trying to fight up for a spot. I don't even know how many people are applying to this thing. It's only 5 in the country, so I want to make myself known. I introduced myself. I mean, I remember shaking their hands and their intent and how much passion they had. I could just see like myself in them, and I knew I wanted pieces of them, right? And to me, it was, I want that position. I want to be there. And I knew that they can take me there because they were already living it. And I love teaching. And Matt, one of the mentors, Matt Briggs, he was studying for his PhD. I think he had like 4 kids and studying for his PhD and a full-time PT. It was crazy. And he taught. So he was teaching and studying for his PhD and working in the clinic and doing some coverage. And he was a PTATC. Both these guys were PTATCs, and just watching them. And John had worked with a lot of pro athletes. I knew that he already had done it. Matt was a brainiac, and he just knew everything. Between these two, I knew there was something special there. And once they explained the program, they had, I think, like 20 something clinicians at the time working in their clinics. They had like 8 or 9 OCS or SCS specialists. I mean, this is in 2007, 2008. There wasn't a lot of specialists at the time. And so for them to have that volume of clinicians, so some of them were part of the mentorship process and some weren't, but it didn't matter. Being around that, I mean, it's like a sponge. So at the time, I think they had like maybe 4 or 5 people as faculty. And I knew when I met them that there was something there. They explained the program, they explained the team, they explained the structure. So what drew me in is that they were affiliated with uh, R1 research institution. So it was very research based. So I knew I needed to get my fundamentals down with research. They had a D1 athletics program attached to their school. So I know that sports is a big thing, and it's the Ohio State University. So, I mean, it's a huge school, and you've got a massive medical institution focused on research, and you have a D1 athletics program. And they already had graduated 2 or 3 residents before, and their faculty included specialists in OCS or SCS, and they had 8 or 9 other specialists within the clinic. And they had 20 PTs or PTAs, a combination of team members and athletic trainers who all worked in one facility. So you had collaboration, you had research, you had, and they had a PT school attached to it. So you have D1, heavy research, and a DPT program. Wow. To me, I just wanted to, I can just step foot in every single one of those and help. And the relationship with their docs and surgeons was phenomenal. It was just very collaborative. So for me, looking at all of those variables, it made sense for what I wanted. I wanted teaching. I wanted to work with pro athletes. I wanted to get on the field coverage. I wanted mentorship, and I wanted structure. And they already had done it with 2 or 3 other residents. So to me, it was like the complete package. And there was other programs who had great programs. And I will never speak negative about any other program. It just wasn't the fit for me. I knew if I was going to spend 15 months of my life with anybody on this planet, and we're all rich in the same amount of time, rich or poor in the same amount of time, that I didn't want to waste any time with anybody that I didn't feel that was going to be the best for me. So, knowing that, ended up uh, interviewing with them. Great facility. I liked everything about it. I liked the structure. I liked the weekly routine. And when they laid it out, it was great to talk to the resident who was there before and getting their understanding. And let me throw this in there. And they had already started an orthopedic residency, and they were on their way to applying for a sports residency in the upper extremity, so baseball. They already had some connections there with a minor league team there, and they were already starting a fellowship for like dance, and they were going to start doing a neuro residency. I mean, they were producing so much content and doing so much work that it was the best option for me, because that was where I pictured myself long term, ultimately. So with all those things, it was so important for me to figure out that where I was going to be in the next 15 months was going to be huge, and it was going to set the tone for the rest of my career. And I knew that that was a critical moment in my career. It was going to be hard for me, and I give credit to people who do this. I knew it was going to be hard for me to go into a traditional setting and then try and come back to a residency. But that's just my personality. I knew it. I wanted to, I didn't have a family. I wasn't married. It was the perfect time to do this. And there's other people in different situations that some people need hybrid programs. Some people need a local place to their home because they might have kids and a family, and it's going to be harder to, move. That's completely up to you. My story is that I was single. I didn't have any commitments. I wanted the best for me. It was the most selfish time in my life, and it was the best time to make that decision, and I knew it. So I interviewed. I think 3 out of the 5, and the others were not for me. And I know people who got the other positions, and we still talk today. And all of us are very grateful and appreciative, and we love the selections that we made. And it all works out. There's no wrong decision. And ultimately, you have to ask, why are you doing this? What do you want from it? Where do you want it to place you? What platform? What are your professional goals afterwards that you're going to have now because of it? And to provide structure to your reasoning, if you're going to, for those of you who are very organized and you want to create a Excel or Google sheet, I would say your list has to be, do they have a team of people that can help you, not just one person? Because you're going to learn a lot from one, but I think you want to have a little bit of everything. You want to have multiple people. Number 2, is there structure? Is this the first year that they're doing this? Are they not credentialed yet and you're going to be the first? It's just a decision that you're willing to take on. It's kind of like a school, if they're credentialed or not. Are you looking for specific opportunities? Do you want on the field? If it's on the field is not important for you, maybe an outpatient residency might be better for you. If you want teaching, do they have an academic institution associated with it? Do you want a relationship with doctors and collaboration? I remember in our residency, we would go to grand rounds every month, and so it was all these physicians teaching on latest updates, and we would just attend to see what's going on surgery-wise and what are they doing, what are they changing. And then every Friday we would meet. Every Friday at 6 a.m. we'd meet with physicians and meet about updates and patients and clients and problem areas, whatever needed to be done administratively, just to make sure that people were getting taken care of. So on throughout the week, I think on Monday we'd start, with clinic coverage, and then we would do practice. I got opportunity to work with the Ohio State University's rugby team, And the rugby team was amazing because I had never seen it. It's kind of a mix of, it's football without pads, and and there's 15s and there's sevens. So 15s is kind of like all the linemen are in there. Sevens is like if you just had running backs, wide receivers, and kind of DBs, and so it's a little faster. And so I covered 15, so you get these big injuries. Yeah, you get some head injuries, you get some concussions, you get shoulder injuries, AC injuries, ankle sprains, and so that was the best for learning because it was always acute, always stuff, and that was what I wanted. So we'd go to rugby practice afterwards, and then that would be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursdays we go in the lab and teach either like anatomy lab or an ortho lab, and teach content, but also assist with the lab. And then on Friday mornings we'd have grand rounds or meeting with the physicians. And so you would work good 30 to 40 hours in the clinic, maybe another 5 to 8 teaching, and then observing surgeries and ground rounds like 1 to 2 hours a week, and then also practices. Practices were probably like 3 to 4 hours total. Commute, practice, shutting down, going home, 3 to 4 hours a week, and then you have games on the weekends, and that would change with the seasons. But ultimately, these are all the things that you were doing on a regular basis. To me, that was important. So you want mentorship, you want the structure, you want the opportunities that you're looking for, and then what are the future opportunities that it can help you bring? And that to me, at a younger part of my career, I wasn't really thinking about that. And I think that it's something very important to do. So when people ask, how do you choose? How do you choose a residency? I mean, I think you have to put all these variables into place, and then what's your story? What's your why? Why do you want to do this? And I think you have to ask yourself that. And then once you meet everybody, ultimately, I've said this in another video in terms of, how do you, what does a good job look like, or a job interview? Like, what do you have to bring? What are your interview tips? What do you do? When you go in, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. And they got to have fire, like fire, and they have to have passion. And if they're just sitting in their, nice suits and they're just talking to you very monotone, absolutely, absolutely, that's what we have here, and we can definitely do that for you. I'm out. I need somebody who's going to tell me that they understand me, they get me, this is what they have, and this is what they can offer, and they can help get me to that level, and they just got to show me. That to me is what drew me into John and Matt. Like when they were talking to me, you can just see it. Like they don't care. They just wanted to help you succeed. They didn't care anything you wanted. They were within reason. They would help you figure it out, and you can kind of mold your own residency. Some people wanted more focus on research. Good for you. I wanted on the field. I wanted acute taping. I wanted it all, and that to me was my focus. So they were like, you can do that. You just got to put in the time and effort to make sure those opportunities are being achieved, and that you can do those. And that to me was great. I was willing to put in that time. And if you want something that's like cookie cutter and set for you, not a problem. But if you're willing to put in some time and create your own opportunities within that, and maybe that's important to you, then you need to ask if that's okay. Because some are going to be rigid. Some are going to say, nope, not even a chance. It's the way it is, and nothing wrong with that. Maybe that one's not for you. So in the end, you got to make sure they have passion. This question, this podcast came about from a listener, somebody who inquired about our programs and barbell course, by the name of, I'm sorry, I'm going to shout you out here, Chase. Chase is, it looks like here it says Missouri, but Chase, thanks for writing in. He asked, he's considering a residency, and he asked, what made you go the route with Ohio State University, and what important variables were important for you when you chose that. And these are the important things. I mean, this is my story. Everyone's going to be a little different, and when you choose your location and your spot, everyone is going to have a different reason for doing that. So Chase, if you're going to make this decision, just make sure that all these variables fit for you. There's no easy answer to this. It's just about what qualities you're looking for. How important are all these variables to you? How important is teaching and everything behind the scenes important to you? What type of experience do you want? That's what it really comes down to. And so, one mistake that I see people making is they choose it based on location where it's convenient. Don't do that. Make sure that it is the best fit for you. You'll never get this time back. You'll never get this piece of your life back. And if you're going to invest and do all this work, it better be with the place, the people that are going to set you up for success. There is my tip across the board that is really what's going to make the right decision for you. I am hands down blessed and happy to have that experience at the Ohio State University, and blessed to have the mentors. Everybody there at that facility was amazing, and I still talk to people about it this day. And that's the type of reaction you want. To be um, you want to be happy that you made that decision. So there you have it. Why I chose the Ohio State University as a sports residency, and all the critical things that you need to consider to see if the sports physical therapy residency is for you. There you have it. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you soon.